AITA for ruining the family by calling the police on my SIL and threatening to leave my husband over a lake house? I never thought I'd be posting here, but my life has turned into a goddamn Lifetime movie over the last 72 hours, and I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality. I need to get this out before my head explodes. For background, I've been married to Dave for 26 years. Dave is a good man, hardworking and generally kind, but he has one fatal flaw: his mother, Barbara, and his younger sister, Jessica. Barbara is a matriarch in the worst sense of the word. She rules the family with an iron fist wrapped in a lace handkerchief. Nothing is ever good enough unless it benefits her or Jessica. Jessica is the golden child who has never done a single responsible thing in her life. She's been married 3 times, has declared bankruptcy twice, and currently works selling essential oils on Facebook while living off her alimony and whatever Barbara funnels her way. For the last 2 decades, I have been the villain in their narrative because I have a shiny spine. I don't let Barbara rearrange my kitchen. I don't lend Jessica money. I worked my ass off to build my own career, and Dave and I have been meticulous savers. We put 2 kids through college without debt, and for the last 10 years, we have been saving for our dream, a lake house. We finally closed on the place 3 months ago. It's not a mansion, but it's ours. It's 2 hours away from the city, right on the water, with a wraparound porch and a detached garage Dave wants to turn into a woodshop. We've spent every weekend since the closing fixing it up, painting, and making it our sanctuary. It was supposed to be where we retire. Last Sunday, we made the mistake of hosting a housewarming barbecue. I didn't want to invite them. I begged Dave to keep it to friends and our kids, but he gave me the puppy dog eyes and said, "It's my mom, Sarah. She's getting older. She just wants to see we're doing okay." Stupid. I was so stupid. They arrived an hour late. Barbara walked in, looked around the living room, which I had just repainted a soft sage green, and sniffed. "Well, it's certainly rustic. A bit damp, isn't it?" I ignored her. I poured wine. I was the perfect hostess. Jessica was already 3 glasses deep within 20 minutes, wandering around touching everything and asking how much the renovation cost. I gave vague non-answers. We sat down to eat on the deck. The sun was setting, it was beautiful, and for a second, I thought we might get through the evening without incident. Then Barbara put down her fork. The clatter silenced the table. "Dave, Jessica and I were talking," she started, her voice sickeningly sweet. "Since Jessica's lease is up at the end of the month, and this place is just sitting here empty during the week, it makes perfect sense for her to stay here for a while. Just until she gets back on her feet." I froze. I literally stopped chewing. I looked at Dave. He was staring at his burger like it contained the secrets of the universe. "Mom," Dave mumbled. "We talked about this. This is a vacation home. We're up here almost every weekend." "Exactly." Jessica chimed in, slurring slightly. "You guys are only here on weekends. I'd be here during the week. I can keep an eye on things. Plus, the city is just so toxic for my mental health right now. I need nature. I need to heal." "No," I said. Barbara turned her head slowly to look at me, like an owl spotting a mouse. "Excuse me?" "No," I repeated, louder. "Jessica is not moving in here. This isn't a rental property. It's our home. We have personal belongings here. We come here to relax. Having a tenant." "Family isn't a tenant," Barbara snapped, the mask slipping. "How dare you imply your sister-in-law is a stranger? She is blood. She is struggling. You have this massive house, it's 1,800 square feet, and you're too selfish to share it? You're not even using it 5 days a week." "It doesn't matter if we use it once a year," I said, my heart hammering against my ribs. "The answer is no. Jessica destroys every place she lives in. She has 3 cats she doesn't clean up after. She smokes inside." "Absolutely not." "I quit smoking," Jessica yelled, looking offended. "She smells like an ashtray, by the way." I looked at Dave again. "Dave. Tell them." Dave looked up, sweat beading on his forehead. "Mom, look, Sarah's right. We just finished the floors. We really want to keep it just for us for a while." "For a while?" Barbara latched onto that weakness instantly. "So you're saying your wife controls you? You can't make a decision to help your own baby sister because she says no?" "It's our house, Barbara," I interjected. "Both our names are on the deed. It's a 2 yes, 1 no situation. And I am a hard no." Barbara stood up. She's tiny, but she vibrates with rage. "I didn't raise a son who turns his back on family. Dave, I expect you to fix this. Jessica has nowhere to go on the first. She is moving in here, or so help me God, you are dead to us. Then I guess we're dead to you, I said, standing up too. Get out. You can't kick us out. Jessica screeched. Dave. Are you going to let this bitch talk to mom like that? Dave flinched. Jessica, don't call her that. I said get out. I pointed to the sliding glass door. Now. Or I'm calling the police. Barbara glared at Dave. If we walk out that door, David, don't bother coming to Thanksgiving. Don't bother calling on my birthday. You are choosing her over your own flesh and blood. Dave looked like he was going to vomit. He didn't say anything, he just looked down. Fine, Barbara spat. She grabbed her purse. Come on, Jessica. Clearly, we aren't wanted. They stormed out. I heard their car gravel spray out of the driveway. I turned to Dave, adrenaline coursing through me. I can't believe them. The audacity. Moving her in? Without even asking? Dave didn't answer. He walked over to the cooler, grabbed a beer, and cracked it open. Dave? You didn't have to be so harsh, he said quietly. Harsh? They tried to commandeer our house. She's my mom, Sarah. And Jess really is in a bad spot. Her landlord is evicting her. Not our problem. She's 48. I know, he shouted, startling me. He never shouts. I know, okay? But maybe we could have worked something out. For a few weeks. No. Absolutely not. Never. I stared at him. Why are you even entertaining this? You know what she's like. Dave sighed, a long, rattling sound. He rubbed his face. It's complicated. What is complicated about no, you can't live in my house? He wouldn't meet my eyes. He walked past me into the kitchen and started loading the dishwasher aggressively. I let him sulk. I was furious, but I figured he just needed to decompress from the confrontation. We drove home Sunday night in silence. Monday morning, I went to work. Dave works from home as a consultant. Around 2 p.m. yesterday, I got a notification from our security system at the lake house. Front door opened. We don't have cameras inside yet, just the door sensors and a doorbell cam we haven't set up fully. I frowned, thinking maybe the contractor popped in to check the HVAC, though he wasn't scheduled. I opened the app. Then I saw the text from Dave. Don't freak out. I told Jess she could drop some boxes off in the garage so she doesn't have to pay for storage. Just for a few days. I saw red. I didn't just see red, I saw the entire infrared spectrum of rage. I called him. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I left work. I told my boss I had a family emergency and drove the 2 hours to the lake, my hands shaking on the steering wheel the entire time. When I pulled into the driveway, Jessica's beat-up Honda Element was parked right on the grass, not even in the driveway. The trunk was open. And there, sitting on my front porch, smoking a cigarette, was Jessica. I got out of the car. She looked up and smirked. Dave said it was okay, she called out before I even reached the steps. I don't care what Dave said. Get your shit and get out. He gave me a key, Sarah. She dangled it from her finger, a shiny, new brass key. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Dave gave her a key. After the fight. After I said no. Behind my back. Give me the key, I demanded, holding out my hand. Make me. She took a drag of her cigarette and flicked the ash onto my newly stained deck. I lost it. I grabbed her wrist. She shrieked and shoved me back. I stumbled off the bottom step and twisted my ankle. I'm calling the cops, she yelled. Assault. You assaulted me. Go ahead. I screamed back, pulling out my phone. I'm calling them right now to report a trespasser. I dialed 911. Jessica looked panicked for a second, then smug. Go ahead. Dave will tell them I live here. I stayed on the line with the dispatcher, giving them the address. Jessica started throwing boxes from her car onto the lawn, screaming that she was moving in and I couldn't stop her. While I waited for the police, my phone buzzed. A text from Dave. Please don't go up there. We need to talk. I can explain. I didn't reply. The police arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers. Jessica immediately turned on the waterworks, claiming I pushed her and that her brother, the owner, gave her permission to move in. The officer looked at me. Ma'am, is your name on the deed? Yes, I said. And so is my husband's. I did not give permission. He might have given her a key, but I am revoking access right now. If he gave her a key and permission, this is a civil matter, the cop said, looking bored. We can't kick her out if one owner let her in. He didn't let her in to live here, I lied, praying Dave hadn't put it in writing. He said she could store boxes in the garage. She is trying to move into the main house. The cop sighed and asked to speak to Dave. I dialed him on speaker. Dave, I said, my voice trembling. I am here with the police. Jessica is claiming you said she could live here. Tell them the truth. Silence on the other end. Dave. Dave's voice was small. I told her she could stay for a couple of weeks. Just until she found a place. I felt the blood drain from my face. The officer looked at me with a told you so expression. You have to be kidding me, I whispered. Sarah, please, Mom was crying, she said. I hung up. The cop shrugged. Sorry, ma'am. He gave permission. You'll have to take it up with him or file for eviction. Jessica smirked at me from the porch. Told you. Now get off my property. I drove home. I didn't go to the lake house. I drove back to our main house, packed a bag, took the dog, and went to a hotel. It's been 24 hours. Dave has called me 47 times. Barbara has texted me calling me a heartless bitch. Jessica posted a photo on Facebook of her feet up on my coffee table with the caption, "Finally some peace and quiet at the lake." I am sitting in this hotel room, and I feel like my marriage is over. But here is the thing that is eating me alive, the reason I haven't just filed for divorce yet. Before I left the house to come to the hotel, I went into Dave's home office to look for our marriage license while I was rage gathering documents. I opened his file cabinet. In the back, tucked under some old tax returns, I found a loan agreement from 6 months ago. It was for $50,000. Co-signed by Dave. For Jessica. We don't have $50,000 in debt. Or I thought we didn't. He took out a personal loan. I don't know what to do. I feel like my entire life is a lie. Update 1. It has been 4 days since my original post. I am still at the hotel. Thank you to everyone who told me to lawyer up immediately. I did. And oh my God, you have no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes. I haven't spoken to Dave directly, but he knows I know about the loan. How? Because I emptied our joint checking and savings accounts, taking exactly 50% of the funds, and opened a new account at a different bank. When the transfer hit, he started blowing up my phone with texts like, "Sarah, please, I can explain the money, and it's not what it looks like." Spoiler alert, it was exactly what it looked like. I met with a divorce attorney, Karen expensive, terrifying, and worth every penny. I showed her the loan document I found. She ran a credit check on Dave and did a preliminary asset search. The $50,000 loan wasn't the only one. 3 years ago, Dave pulled $20,000 from his 401k. He told me the market dipped and his portfolio took a hit. That was a lie. He cashed it out to pay off Jessica's credit card debt so she wouldn't file for bankruptcy a third time. There's also a credit card in his name that I didn't know about with a $15,000 balance. The statements go to his mother's address. I have been living with a financial stranger. I handle our household bills, the mortgage, and the utilities. I thought we were transparent. But Dave has been running a shadow economy to fund his mother and sister's lifestyle for years. I sent Dave an email, per Karen's advice to keep everything in writing. I told him I know about the debt. I told him I want a legal separation. I told him he needs to get Jessica out of the lake house immediately or I will force a partition sale and he will lose the only thing he actually cares about. His response was pathetic. He sent me a 4-page email blaming his childhood. Apparently, Barbara has been guilting him since his dad died, telling him it's his job to take care of the girls. He said Jessica was in trouble with some bad people regarding the $50,000 loan sharks? Gambling debts? I don't know and I don't care, and he was scared she'd get hurt. I might have felt a shred of sympathy if he hadn't endangered my financial future to fix her messes. Yesterday, things got physical. Not with me, thankfully. I hired a private security detail to go to the lake house with me. I wanted to document the condition of the property and retrieve some heirlooms I'd stupidly moved there, my grandmother's quilt and some antique vases. I wasn't going to let Jessica pawn them. We pulled up to find 3 cars in the driveway, Jessica's Honda, Barbara's sedan, and a pickup truck I didn't recognize. Music was blasting. It was 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. I unlocked the door with my key. The security guard, a massive guy named Tiny, stood right behind me. The smell hit me first. Stale smoke, cat litter, and weed. In my brand new house. Jessica was on the couch with a guy I've never seen. Barbara was in the kitchen. Cooking? She was frying something in my Le Creuset pan, scratching it with a metal fork. What the hell is this? I yelled. Barbara dropped the fork. Sarah. You can't just barge in here. It is my house. I screamed. I walked over and turned off the stove. Get out. All of you. Dave said we could stay, Jessica yelled from the couch, not even bothering to cover up. She was wearing one of Dave's t-shirts. Dave has no say anymore, I said, cold as ice. I am filing for divorce. And since I am an owner, I am revoking your guest privileges. Tiny? Tiny stepped into the room and crossed his arms. He looked like a tank in a polo shirt. Ma'am, Tiny said to Jessica. You need to vacate the premises. You can't make me. Jessica shrieked. Squatters' rights. You've been here 3 days, Tiny said calmly. That's trespassing. The police are on their way to assist with an escort. I hadn't called the police yet, but Tiny was bluffing beautifully. Barbara went nuclear. She started throwing things, not at me, but on the floor. She swept a stack of plates off the counter. Smash! She grabbed a vase, my grandmother's vase, and held it over her head. You want us out? She screamed, her face purple. You want your precious house? Fine. But you'll have nothing left. Put it down, Barbara, I warned, my voice shaking. Make me. She threw it. It shattered a foot from my feet. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just took a photo of the shards with my phone. Then I looked at her and said, that just cost Dave another $5,000 in the settlement. The strange man on the couch stood up. Look, I don't want no trouble. He grabbed his jacket and bolted. Jessica started crying, calling me a monster. Barbara was hyperventilating, clutching her chest, pulling the I'm having a heart attack card. Call 911. Jessica screamed. You killed her. You gave her a heart attack. I'll call, I said. And I'll tell them she's conscious and breathing but having a tantrum. I did call the paramedics. They arrived, checked Barbara out, and told her vitals were perfect. She miraculously recovered when they offered to take her to the ER for a full workup. Tiny stayed until they packed their bags. It took 2 hours. I watched them load every box. Jessica tried to steal my toaster, I took it out of her hands. When they were finally gone, I changed the locks. I had a locksmith on standby down the road. I installed 4 blink cameras inside and out. I drove back to the hotel and cried for 3 hours. The house smells like smoke. The floor is scratched. My vase is gone. But they are out. However, the war isn't over. Dave served me with papers this morning. Not divorce papers. He's filed for an emergency injunction to prevent me from selling the lake house or barring access to joint owners. He's fighting me. He's actually fighting me to protect them. Update 2. The gloves are off. I cannot believe the man I slept next to for 26 years has morphed into this spineless, vindictive weasel. After Dave filed that injunction, I went scorched earth. I gave Karen the go-ahead to unleash hell. We responded to his injunction with a counterclaim for divorce citing financial infidelity and dissipation of marital assets. We included the evidence of the loans, the credit cards, and the 401k withdrawal. But here is where it gets truly insane. I hired a forensic accountant. Since Dave is a consultant, his income fluctuates, and he handles his own taxes. I usually just sign the joint return where he tells me to. The accountant found something interesting in Dave's business expenses. For the last 5 years, Dave has been paying consulting fees to a company called J&B Solutions. J&B. Jessica and Barbara. He has been funneling about $1,500 a month to a Shell LLC registered in Barbara's name. He was writing it off as a business expense. This is tax fraud. I told Karen. She looked at me over her glasses and said, Sarah, if we use this, he could go to jail. Or get audited into oblivion. It will destroy him. I thought about the broken vase. I thought about the smoke smell in my lake house. I thought about the $50,000 loan. Use it as leverage, I said. We set up a mediation meeting, me, Dave, Karen, and his lawyer, some strip mall guy who looked like he hadn't slept in a week. Dave looked terrible. He's lost weight and looked gray. He wouldn't look at me. We sat down. Karen slid the forensic accounting report across the table. We know about J&B Solutions, Dave, she said softly. Dave's lawyer picked up the paper, read it, and actually paled. He looked at Dave. Is this true? Dave put his head in his hands. They needed money to live. Mom's pension isn't enough. Jessica. She can't hold a job. So you committed tax fraud? His lawyer hissed. I called it consulting. Mom. She gives me advice sometimes. Advice on what? I asked. How to ruin a marriage. Dave looked at me then, tears in his eyes. I didn't want to lose you, Sarah. I knew you'd say no if I asked to give them money. You always hated them. I hated them because they use you. I slammed my hand on the table. And look. I was right. They have bled us dry, Dave. And you held the knife. I can't cut them off, he whispered. I promised Dad. Well, you broke your vows to me to keep a promise to a dead man, I said. Here is the deal. Karen laid out our terms. 1. I get the lake house 100%. He signs a quitclaim deed today. 2. I keep 100% of my retirement. 3. He takes on 100% of the debt he created, the loans, the credit cards. 4. We sell the main house and split the equity 50-50, after deducting the $75,000 plus he stole from our savings and investments over the years. 5. If he agrees, I won't report the tax fraud to the IRS. I'll let him amend his returns quietly and pay the penalties himself. Dave's lawyer whispered furiously in his ear. It was obvious, take the deal, you moron. Dave looked at the paper. Then he looked at his phone. It was buzzing on the table. Mom calling. He stared at the screen. Answer it, I said. Ask her if she can pay for your tax fraud defense lawyer. Dave let it ring. He picked up the pen. His hand was shaking so bad he could barely write. He signed. Update 3. The divorce was finalized 2 weeks ago. It was the fastest, most brutal process of my life. I am writing this from the deck of the lake house. It's mine. All mine. The fallout was spectacular. When Barbara and Jessica found out Dave had signed over the lake house and agreed to the financial split, they turned on him like rabid dogs. Since he has to sell the main house to pay me my share of the equity, he had to move into a small apartment. He doesn't have the spare cash to fund their lives anymore. Jessica actually sued him. She tried to sue him for promissory estoppel, claiming he promised to support her. It got thrown out of court, but the betrayal broke whatever spell he was under. Dave had a breakdown, a legitimate one. He ended up in the hospital for 3 days with stress-induced heart palpitations. I didn't visit. I sent flowers, but I didn't visit. Barbara tried to call me. She left a voicemail that I will keep forever. It started with her screaming that I was a thief and ended with her sobbing, begging me to take Dave back because he's no use to us if he's depressed. He's no use to us. That was it. That was the whole dynamic. I blocked her number. I had to hire professional cleaners to get the smoke smell out of the lake house. It took 3 treatments of ozone, but it's gone. I replaced the scratched floorboards. I'm 50. I'm single. I have a mortgage I can afford on my own, a job I love, and a lake house that is finally peaceful. Last weekend, I was at the grocery store in town and ran into an old friend of Dave's. He told me Dave has gone no contact with Barbara and Jessica. Apparently, while he was in the hospital, Jessica went to his apartment with his spare key, which he foolishly hadn't taken back, and stole his TV and his laptop to pawn. That was the final straw. He pressed charges. Against his own sister. I felt a pang of sadness for him. He lost everything, his wife, his home, his money, and now his family, because he couldn't set a boundary. But then I drove back to my lake, poured a glass of wine, and sat on my deck. The sun was setting. The water was glass. And my phone didn't ring once. I'm the asshole to them. I'm the villain in their story. And I am perfectly fine with that. Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.